So, Alex, what liberal women? I can honestly say I want nothing that conservative women have. Nothing. Not your tweed dresses, not your bad makeup, not your lack of a spine, and certainly not your men. Let's ignore the fact that I have a hot husband firmly seated on the left. I'm going to pretend I'm single. I meet a man. Turns out he's MAGA. I immediately know a few things. He thinks vaginas are gross. He's never made a woman come. He doesn't wash his asshole in the shower because it's gay. He doesn't understand or care about consent. He doesn't understand or know how to process his own emotions. And he doesn't care about human rights or my rights, right? So, no, Alex, please keep them. Keep all of those conservative men. Tell them to get out of our DMs. Thank you.
Look, attraction isn't just physical, it's values. And when someone's politics tell you they don't respect your autonomy, that's not a difference of opinion. That's a red flag wearing a red hat. The hygiene comment is funny, but there's something real underneath it. Toxic masculinity and far-right politics tend to travel together. The same worldview that says emotions are weakness also says basic self-care is somehow feminine. Women aren't being shallow, they're reading the signals. Your politics broadcast how you'll treat them behind closed doors. And if those politics involve restricting women's rights, yeah, swipe left makes sense.
Liberal women do not want to date conservative men. But here's the thing, conservative women don't want to date liberal men either. People tend to date within political orientations, meaning liberal people tend to date liberal people and conservative people tend to date conservative people. When daters cross party lines, it tends to be liberals dating moderates or conservatives dating moderates. There are very few couples where there are conservatives dating liberals. Those relationships tend to be less stable than people who date within party. And it makes sense because political orientation is a proxy for other types of values that we have in our lives. What I'm pointing out here is that the divide between young people today is widening. Young women are becoming more liberal and young men are becoming more conservative. That means that young women don't want to date young men because women care a lot more than men about the politics of their spouse. Especially today when politics are so important for women. Conservative men are really angry about this, going so far as to claim that I can't be a scientist and pointing out that I have pronouns in my bio because it comes so naturally for you to find ways to devalue who I am as a person and also to try and poke holes in my credentials because you don't like what I'm saying. But science doesn't care about your feelings. If I'm describing the state of the world to you and it's hurting your feelings because women don't want to date you, that's a you problem. It seems to me like you genuinely don't value or like women at all. You don't value our perspectives, you don't value our personhood, you don't value the hobbies that we do or the careers that we have. Maybe that requires a little self-reflection on your part.
The science is uncomfortable, but it's real. Young women are shifting liberal, young men conservative. This isn't opinion, it's data. And what's the response? Attack her credentials, question her expertise, anything but actually listen, which proves her entire point. Here's what conservative guys miss. Politics aren't abstract for women, they're personal. Abortion access, healthcare, workplace discrimination. These are lived experiences, not debate topics. For a lot of men, politics is theoretical. The economy, immigration, things that feel distant. But for women, it's their body, their choices, their safety. And when you support policies that restrict women's autonomy, you're signaling you don't see them as equals. Then you act shocked when they won't date you. The what rights question, the dismissiveness. This is what happens when reality threatens your worldview. Instead of reflecting, you attack the messenger. If women keep saying the same thing, maybe listen.
About this.
Because we all know what that usually means.
Oh, this should be fun.
For you or for me, Lady J? So let's use this as an opportunity to talk about opinion versus an explainer video. Audra creates content that is often an explainer video. Instead, she decided to make an opinion video about some research that comes out that has said that women are now politically more liberal than men, and it's really impacted dating. Like 7 in 10 Democrats wouldn't date somebody who follows Trump. And so you have this widening gap, which will create dating problems. Now, her video was not about this phenomenon. She was just saying her preference not to date conservatives. Just as conservatives often have the preference to pick on liberals It's a preference. And she's just giving her opinion. She's not doing an explainer. But Lady J would still like to critique that.
Do explain why.
And so she brings up,
it does not matter what he looks like. And me personally, at this point, if I see a man listed as moderate as well, it's usually a swipe left too, because we all know what that usually means.
Oh, this should be fun. What does that usually mean?
I think the fact that conservative men absolutely refuse to listen to women when we try to explain to them why we don't want to date conservative men.
So we're starting out with the logical fallacy of composition.
so if she was saying this trend nationally is because I met one conservative guy and all conservative guys are like him, that would be the logical fallacy of composition, where you make the parts equal the whole. She was saying, from her experience, guys who say moderate really are basically conservative. And for her, she's going to swipe away from those guys. But since we're on this topic, the research indicates, and this is where we're not using a logical fallacy of composition, but we're looking holistically. Women believe more often in big government. That means that a lot of women believe no one's pulling them themselves by their bootstraps. You can't actually do that. But men do not. Women are concerned about things like guns.
At the end of the day, if you're someone who's voting against my rights and my family members' rights, that means that you don't think that we deserve to have the same rights as you.
I can't wait to hear what exactly those rights are that one thinks that people supposedly have that conservative men are voting against.
Abortion. You knew it. You knew which rights they were. You were just trying to start something. So let me finish it. A lot of women understand that healthcare is a right that they can have when they vote for it. And that's what happened in Ohio Issue 1, which was disproportionately voted on by women. And I honestly just don't even know what your debate is. She is just saying she doesn't want to date a conservative guy. Are you saying that you wished that she could date your brother? Because it sounds like she's not in. Because otherwise, there is no need to slam her and then not tag her.
The what rights game is exhausting. Abortion is healthcare. Women are dying because doctors are scared to provide care. This isn't hypothetical. It's happening. But watch how it works. Pretend you don't understand. Make women explain for the 100th time, then dismiss it anyway. Here's reality. If you vote against someone's rights, they don't owe you a date. That's not discrimination. That's consequences. And the fact that stating a preference triggers this much defensiveness, that tells you everything.
Something I want to say to the women. You told men if they voted for Trump, I don't want to date you. All right. So let me say this. About 90% of you are not the 10% of good, attractive women. You're not a 7. Most of y'all ain't 8s, and you damn sure ain't 9. So let me ask you again. Who are you to tell anybody who to vote for? Last time I checked, you had the right to vote for whoever. You think you having a vagina does what? Let me tell you something. Your vagina wears out after 30. Right. So a lot of you 3s and 4s need to relax on who you're talking to because you don't have the options you think.
Your vagina wears out at 30. Let that sink in. That's not just ignorance. That's active hostility wrapped in fake biology. This isn't about anatomy, it's about control. If you can convince women their value expires, maybe they'll settle for less. But here's what guys like this miss. Women don't need men for financial security anymore. They have careers, education, options. So when they choose a partner, it's about compatibility, not survival. And that terrifies insecure men. Because if women can choose freely, they're choosing partners who see them as equals, not depreciating assets. To the women, your standards aren't too high. Any man who rates you on a number scale isn't worth your time. Your value doesn't decrease with age. His understanding of basic respect was never there to begin with.
Do you believe that a Republican and a Democrat can date each other successfully and have a good relationship? This person says it's impossible, and I would venture to say a lot of people would say that as well. I actually don't think people would have thought it was impossible maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, but now I feel like a lot of people think it is. And I'm curious on your thoughts. Like, you have to drop your thoughts in the comments on this. I am not a political person. I don't share my political affiliations. Honestly, I don't care about politics that much. There's certain things that I do care about, but I don't like to talk about politics. People can't talk about it and like keep a sound mind. They freak out. However, I will say that my last relationship that was a pretty good relationship overall, besides his commitment issues, he and I voted very differently. Now, again, I don't talk about politics, so I'm not going to go into what he believed versus what I believed, but we could not be more opposite. And it worked fine. I could understand his perspective. He could understand my perspective. I understood his more than he understood mine because he was more political than me. But there was just certain things we really just didn't talk about because we knew it was going to piss each other off. And then there were certain things we still agreed on, even though we voted very differently. I'm curious, no matter what side you're on, do you think this is possible? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
This is actually nuanced, and I respect it. She dated across party lines. It worked because they had mutual respect. They listened. They understood opposing viewpoints. That's maturity. But here's the difference. Political divides aren't what they used to be. It's not tax policy anymore. It's, do certain groups deserve basic rights? Can a pro-choice woman date a pro-life man? Maybe, if he's not voting to restrict her access. If she's not constantly defending her humanity. But when politics determine whether someone gets bodily autonomy, that's not a policy disagreement. That's values incompatibility. Ask yourself, are we disagreeing about legislation or about whether people deserve dignity? One is workable, the other isn't.
Liberal ladies, whatever the hell you are doing in Washington, D.C., Baltimore area to sort of protest against MAGA, it is working. So my dad, he's older, but he recently started dating again. And he says that there are no women. He's MAGA, he's Republican. And, you know, it's hard having a dad that's MAGA, but he has been pretty aggressive saying that there are basically no women that will date him because he's a Republican. No women in the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area, Pennsylvania area will date MAGA Republican men on online dating sites. Yeah. And I told him, I'm like, I'm not MAGA, I'm Democrat, right? I'm like, yeah, we got all the ladies. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, at this point, if MAGA people, MAGA men can't find a partner, as a species, they're going to die out, right? There won't be any. Like, they're not going to be able to have any families, and they're not going to be able to pass on these hateful, bigoted positions. So ladies, listen, I love it. Keep it up. Be picky about who you want to date. Date people that hold your values. I'm loving this. This is great. I think you girls should be really proud of yourselves.
MAGA dad can't get dates in D.C. Color me shocked. Women in educated urban areas are overwhelmingly liberal. That's demographics, not conspiracy, and they're choosing partners who align with their values. Conservative men thought women had to choose them. That survival meant settling. But now women have independence, and suddenly men have to be actually appealing beyond having a job. The market has spoken. If your ideology makes you undateable, that's natural selection in action. Find someone who shares your values, or reflect on why educated women pass, but don't blame them for having standards.
If your partner can go months without having sex with you, that is a serious sign that they do not love you anymore. When somebody truly loves you, they naturally desire you, not out of obligation, but from genuine attraction and impulse to be close to you. There's research that supports it. Studies show that sexual frequency is strongly linked to relationship satisfaction. Couples who report regular intimacy tend to have a higher emotional closeness and lower rates of breakup. Oxytocin released during sex strengthens bonding and feelings of connection. Without it, that closeness, it weakens over time. Relationships do go through cycles. I understand that. But prolonged lack of intimacy usually means that one has completed its own. We're wired for connection, and physical desire is a key part of that. Sex isn't everything, but it's a very important measure of interest, attraction, and chemistry. Love is not sustained only by words, companionship, or habit. It is also expressed through touch, wanting to be close, and feeling desired. And if that's missing, it's fair to ask why you're staying. Many people downplay the importance of sex, but the evidence shows that it matters for nearly all couples. If you're experiencing this and the feeling of being undesired, remember that you do deserve more. So click the link in my bio, book a call with me, and I will try to help you navigate it.
Physical intimacy matters. It's not shallow to want desire in a relationship. When that disappears for months, it's not just a dry spell, it's a symptom. Here's the connection. If your partner doesn't respect your autonomy, intimacy suffers, because intimacy requires vulnerability, and you can't be vulnerable with someone who doesn't see you as equal. If he's voting against your bodily autonomy, how comfortable are you being intimate? If he sees women as lesser, can you feel desired as an equal? Men, if intimacy is gone, ask yourself, does your partner feel respected, valued, actually heard? Women, Don't accept relationships where you feel undesired. And definitely don't stay with someone who votes against your interests but expects vulnerability. Desire is a barometer.
My grandma told me that if given the opportunity, a man will take everything from you. They come into your life to take. They will take your time, energy, resources, health, mental health, your wound, your body, your beauty, your radiance, your personality, your thoughts, every single thing. She said, women now don't have to deal with and put up with the things that they had to deal with and put up with in the past because we have been given the opportunity to be educated and have our own. She used to say, why would you tie yourself to a man when you don't have to? We had to do that in order to survive. Y'all don't have to do that. There's no reason for you to be tying your survival and your life to a man when you don't have to. Go get your education, because these men, a lot of them, aren't worth the ground that they crawled out of. And they don't do nothing but come into your life to take.
I get this question a lot in the work that I do as a couples therapist and coach, so let's talk about it because it's important. Do I think the political divide is crossable in relationships? I do. But this is a totally subjective question because you have non-negotiables that you're not willing to budge on, and your partner probably does too, but you get to decide what those non-negotiables are. And they may change and morph over time as life does when you experience more things. You and your partner enter a relationship with your core values, and those core values are often formed before you even meet your partner. They start when we're really, really young. And I have never personally or professionally met two people who are in a relationship with each other who have the exact same core values. And that doesn't matter. They don't need to be the same, but there needs to be this general mutual love and empathy and respect for what the core values are for your partner. Your partner could have a core value that makes absolutely no sense to you. It's never something that you would choose as a core value, but you love and respect them, so you're willing to see past it and support them no matter what. The same goes for politics, unless it touches on your non-negotiables. So I know this answer is a little bit gray, but I really think a lot of this comes back to what are you willing to budge on and not.
The therapist got it right. This is about core values, not party labels. Different tax opinions, workable. But when someone's politics mean you don't deserve full human rights, that's not a debate. That's a deal breaker. And the "you might be the problem" argument misses context. If every man expects you to shrink yourself, doesn't value your career, dismisses your boundaries, maybe the problem isn't you. Maybe it's refusing to settle. Women with options, education, and independence aren't being unreasonable. They're exercising standards. That's not pickiness. That's self-respect. Your relationship is yours to define, but don't compromise on being treated as an equal human being. Anything less isn't love.
God, I see so many women on TikTok. Of course, they're like liberal, complaining like, oh my God, dating's so hard in the city. All men are trash. All men are garbage, blah, blah. It's like, do you think if you've been dating and you're in your late 30s and every man has had an issue with you or not wanting you, do you think that at some point the common denominator might be you? Maybe you're the problem. Maybe it's not like the 4.5 billion men on the planet. Trust me when I say there are thousands of people suitable for you. I think it might be you. You might be, if you cannot obtain a partner, you might be nuts. Also, I don't understand this thing, like, it's so hard to date in the city. I understand the challenges of the city. Where would you rather be? The cornfields where there's 5 people to date? What, do you want to go to an Amish community? I'm so confused. In the city, you have literally the most amount of options. I don't understand. What's better? What's a better option? I don't understand these things.
So here's where we land. Can relationships survive political differences? Sometimes, but only when politics don't override basic decency. Only when you're debating policy, not personhood. When someone's political choices restrict your rights, don't feel guilty for walking away. That's not intolerance. That's self-preservation. Women aren't being unreasonable. Men aren't all villains. But if your politics diminish someone's autonomy, don't act surprised when they choose someone else. Political affiliation reveals values, and values determine compatibility. The dating market isn't broken. It's just honest now. People are refusing to compromise on respect, and that's actually healthy. Drop a comment. Can love bridge the political divide, or is 2026 too polarized? Hit that like, share this with someone navigating modern dating, and subscribe for more real talk, because in a world this divided, clarity is survival. Thanks for watching Mind Mirror.
Real quick, by becoming a channel member, you're not just supporting our work, you're helping us amplify voices, fight misinformation, and keep important conversations alive. Membership gives us the strength to keep producing content that matters. Join today and stand with us in shaping a better future.